All right, weightlifting scoop. Hope you guys had a good weekend. How did all you guys have? A good weekend or
Mine was boring.
Boring weekend?
Yeah.
Well, we weren't able to do a podcast on Friday, but we are back. No worries. Sean, I heard you had a pretty eventful weekend.
Yeah, I almost died several times.
So there's the National Whitewater Center here in Charlotte, is that right?
That's correct. It's a U.S. National Whitewater Training Center. It's a official Olympic training site for whitewater kayaking, I believe, is the actual sport. There's like some sort of speed course, like it's kind of like slalom skiing, I believe. You got to go through certain.
Yeah, I've been there before, and I've observed that course, and it looks very, very hard.
Yeah.
But then the good thing is they do have, you can go out to the river, and the river basically runs past this whole course.
Yep.
And do some slow water.
Well, they have the whitewater, which is what that is, and then they have the flat water, which is what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You can just go and kayak and raft and all that stuff.
Man-made rapids, right?
It's man-made rapids, yeah. It feeds off of the Catawba River, but it's a really cool place, and they have a lot of activities with hiking and mountain cycling and all that stuff.
Glenn, is this something that you'd suggest for 105 plus weightlifters to go partake of?
Absolutely not.
Yeah,
I thought we were going to go and we were just going to do a little kayaking leisurely or rafting. Instead, they have high ropes courses, which is something they strap you into a harness. Something about that harness weight is it's tested for 275 pound men, 75 pound men, and I weigh 280. So that was just a good idea right there, is to get on there.
Did they not make you guys step on scales?
No, they didn't at all. They're like, "Oh, you're good."
Oh, you're good.
Oh, you're good. Yeah.
And so high ropes course is what it is. It's like a series of cables and obstacles and stuff that you're going to climb high above the ground. And if you fall, you got this harness to catch you. So that's good to do when you trust your harness. But
as long as that harness doesn't rack you, gotta.
But
be
even
careful.
so, there's all these little kids, running around like little fucking ninjas and everything. Just go, sorry, but on all the obstacles.
Little ninjas.
That's what I heard.
And then there's me. As soon as so a lot of the obstacles are like these cables, like this, tension, high gauge steel cables. Mm-hmm. When you put 280 pounds on a cable, it moves a lot more than a little kid just running around.
Well, it probably gives you some respect for the acrobats that kind of walk across cables like that.
Yeah, for me, it wasn't the balance or strength or anything like that. It was literally, I just weigh too much to do this. That's all. The gravity pulls on me more than it does other people, and that was it. But it was fun. I went
out there last summer, I think it was last summer. What I remember most is that it was very hot. And trying to walk
was the summer.
Yeah,
it was the summer in Charlotte.
Yeah, it was hot.
It was hot.
And having to walk from like the place that you go to first to get your tickets out to the flatwater kayaking was a long ways. And I remember almost dying.
Well,
so again,
that might be a bit of an exaggeration.
not an activity for 105 plus.
It was a fairly cool, overcast, kind of beautiful day yesterday, so that wasn't an issue.
Well, that I'm sure helps you.
So, Glenn, you're almost down to 105, so this might be an activity for you now.
Yeah, I want to take you out there.
Maybe so. I could probably do it much better than I could before, no doubt.
Me, Glenn, and Tom could get out there on the cable at the same time.
I hesitate to even try that again because I remember how miserable I was last time. But, it could be something.
Well, it is the springtime, too, so I bet it was a nicer day, not as humid and hot.
You found a way to ruin it, though.
I mean, it's raining
today. On the cables. What's the matter with you?
So it is raining today, but the weather in Charlotte has been beautiful. Last week it was 70 to 80 degrees, which in my opinion is perfect.
Perfect.
I was able to take couple walks, get out in the sun. Now, I'm sure this whitewater place is like a very nice looking, beautiful place to go to as well. So something far out from a competition in the spring. I'm sure it was a lot of fun. Definitely something that I want to do, given that we live right by it, so why not go check it out? So, something to relieve stress when training's getting the best of you, I guess.
Didn't do that. it incurred stress.
I guess being the 280-pound man on
the 275
tested cables, I guess that would be a little stressful.
My T levels dropped and my C levels spiked, so it was not good.
Oh man. Well, anyways, we had the Junior Pan Ams hosted in Reno, Nevada, which is pretty cool. We don't often get to host international meets in the U.S. We do have, I guess the next one's the 2015 Worlds in Houston, which is going to be awesome.
Yeah,
so,
that's going to be good.
I mean, that's going to be a whole nother level of just weightlifting hosted in the U.S. I expect a huge crowd for the first time in a long time in a weightlifting meet in the U.S., and really excited about that. But I thought this one was pretty good. The quality of lifting was good. Now, specifically, I think our junior women's team is awesome this year.
I think we got a lot of talent down in the juniors right now.
Yeah, I mean, the men and the women.
Yeah, both.
But the women have really surprised me, and I think, partly due to CrossFit making upper body strength in women less taboo, encouraging pull-ups with younger women. And I guess kind of on that topic, Glenn, you were telling us how you thought women were more physiologically, naturally made for weightlifting.
Well, I mean, women tend to be more flexible than men.
Most of the time, yeah.
They tend to have a much more equal lower body strength than upper body strength. And, upper body strength and upper body muscle mass was really kind of wasted in weightlifting. It's generally the people that don't have as much of it that are the best. Flexibility is a huge deal in weightlifting, and also I think that the athletes that have a higher proportion of their body mass below their waist are also at an advantage in weightlifting. So, all those things being considered, women should be better than men in weightlifting, I feel like. And I think that we're starting to, women have kind of got on the fast track since women's weightlifting was included in the Olympics. I mean, the records have been going up very fast and very much faster than the men's records. And so it doesn't take much to realize that if you extrapolate that out, we're probably going to see a day when the women's records are equal to the men's. They may never beat the men's. I really don't know how that'll play out. I think that it is, women still have some disadvantages. One thing I think is, just absolute force production. And I think that probably has something to do with hormones. I think that women not having the testosterone and things like men have probably leads to a slightly lower amount of force production, even among really athletic women. But women are certainly improving faster than men. And it's not going to be too long before they're much closer to men than they are now.
Well, with a bigger pool of weightlifters in the U.S. now, I think we've seen that particularly at the younger level. And we've had some good girls' teams before. We had a team that won the Junior Worlds. Do you remember what year that was, Glenn or Dawn?
Jeez.
I don't remember.
I'm
was
not sure.
Natalie on it?
It had weightlifters like Carissa, Rachel Crass.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if Natalie was on the team, but a lot of girls that if I named those names, you'd be like, wow, those were really good weightlifters.
Well, they're girls that still hold records.
Yeah. So, I mean, but the girls that are coming up, I mean, I think they're kind of on the same level, really.
Oh, I think they're better. I think they're better. There's no question. And there's more of them.
And, I mean, Jenny Arthur's not a junior anymore, but, she was just a junior up until last year, and she's clean jerking like 134.
140.
Yeah, she's
supposedly
getting up.
This week.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard rumors she did 115 and 140 in training. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Well, that was on April Fool's, but.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe.
Wow.
And there's no video of it yet. I'm not saying. I mean,
it could have been.
If it popped up, wouldn't surprise me.
But you know what? I wouldn't be surprised either.
I would have no doubt. I really wouldn't think
when she posted it, I was like, well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Well, she's phenomenal. She's obviously a great example of a female weightlifter that is destined to do those kind of numbers.
And there's two juniors in particular that really impressed me, kind of like the future Natalie Woolfolk versus Carissa Gordon type competition, which is Maddie Rogers and Lauren Fisher.
Right.
Maddie Rogers, she snatched 89 kilos, and you know what? She competed at Junior Nationals as a 69. I didn't know this because she was taller, but she weighed in at 63.3, and she got third place. So really, the spotlight wasn't on her. You know, she was kind of under the radar because she got third at Junior Nationals in the 69, and then she actually cut down at the hassle-free meet and had all PRs to make the Junior Pan Ams. And then at the Junior Pan Ams this weekend, she snatched 89. She has a birth date of 95, so that makes her 19 this year. So she has a whole nother year, and the record for the snatch in the 63 juniors is 90. So 2 kilos in the next year, which year and a half, I think that's totally going to happen.
Did she come from CrossFit too? I know the Fisher girl did.
I think she definitely did. Danny Camargo coaches her down in Florida. He's obviously doing a really good job with her because, I mean, she was the most impressive lifter this weekend to me, specifically for that snatch at 89.
What's her best clean and jerk?
Best clean and jerk is 100. She cleaned 102 and missed the jerk, so she ended out doing 89 and 99.
Sounds like early Natalie Wellfuck.
Mm-hmm. And Lauren Fisher, she's a clean and jerk machine. I mean, this girl is super strong. I haven't seen her snatch yet, but her snatch is lagging behind in comparison just a little bit. But the clean and jerks are just insane. I mean, she was attempting 110 as a junior
super
girl.
Strong.
Yeah, very strong.
So, yeah, I'm really impressed with both of them. I don't know what her birth date is, but I think she might actually be younger than.
I've heard 17, but I'm not sure of that. I don't know. But yeah, I saw a little bit of her snatching at the Junior Pan Ams last night. Yeah, she's a little bit rough in technique, but lots of power. And yeah, she can clean and jerk.
I think I saw her like power jerk 105 in training or something like that.
She's just a very good athlete. I mean, there's no doubt about that. We've got a bunch of them down there, and we'll have more.
Yeah, and I mean the whole girls team I think was very strong this year. There wasn't any of the girls team where I was like, oh, she just slipped onto the Junior Pan Am team. They were all very competitive and good lifters, but those two specifically I was extremely impressed with, and I think a lot of that has to do with CrossFit promoting upper body strength in women.
Yeah, it's doubly good because when Natalie and some people like her were at the top of the heap, I mean, you kind of got the feeling that they were just almost an anomaly. You know, there were 3 or 4 very, very, very good girls that just happened to come along at the same time.
Yeah.
And we ended up having several very competitive and very good teams because of those girls, but there was nobody behind them.
No.
You know, when they got to be, you know, through their juniors and into the senior ranks, of course they continued somewhat to improve, but there really wasn't anybody else. There wasn't somebody to reload with, you know, and now you get the idea that when one of these girls is doing really good, if they falter, there's another girl to take their place.
Yeah, this is the first time in my experience in weightlifting that sort of thing is pretty much true. You feel like the depth is happening here now in both the men's and the women's. The women's a little more, I think, but still both. And that was that in most of the time I've been up, and Glenn, you too. We felt like, yeah, you've got a number 1 and maybe you've got a number 2 in a weight class.
Yeah.
But then it
drops off.
It drops off severely.
I think the biggest thing too is that now during that time when Carissa and Natalie were in the same weight class, once they came in the same, they had to be on top of their game to win. And but a lot of the other weight classes, it was kind of, you know, one, like you knew who was going to win.
Yeah.
You know, nobody was really pushing Cheryl to have to do 130 and 165 to win. Yeah. You know, she could go and do 110 and 140 and win the meet. So, I mean, she definitely wanted it, and she hit huge numbers, but it wasn't a do or die scenario. You know, she wasn't in danger of getting second.
No.
And in some of these weight classes, when you can get that second person, that third person, you know, and a fourth person really puts the pressure on, because then you got to do your best to medal.
Yeah.
So I think that's exciting.
Yeah, but I think that really women's weightlifting, has temporarily kind of taken over the spotlight as far as who the most impressive athletes are within the U.S. Certainly we've got some good men. We've got some great men. But as far as the competitiveness of our men, I think it's kind of taking a back seat to the women as far as how these younger lifters, how promising they are.
Yeah. I don't know if I would go that far, but those two girls specifically definitely impressed me a lot. I mean, the men, we had a couple guys too. Obviously, the big three juniors right now are Daryl Barnes and Ian Wilson. And Darren and Daryl had very, very good performances. Darren made all junior, senior American records, 110, 135, I think. And Daryl did 122 in the snatch, which Derek Johnson, his half-brother, had broken the record at the Hasselfree meet at 122. He took 122 at this meet to have the junior record and tie the American record. So he doesn't actually hold the American record anymore. But, I mean, those guys are pretty incredible. I think they definitely have big opportunities to medal at Junior Worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, you know, and they're both healthy. You know, they're both healthy and they both look like they have a way to go. You know, they're not lifting what seems to be their best weights yet.
Yeah, which is great because, I mean, you know, when someone's younger in those lighter weight classes, you typically think, you know, their body's going to develop earlier. You know, by the time they're 20, 21 years old, their body's going to develop. They can't really gain any more muscle mass and stay in that weight class. But, yeah, I mean, these guys have amazing technique and they keep getting better. So, and then Ian Wilson, obviously, he had a tough day in the clean and jerks. But the dude's still a freak. You know, tough day. Hold your head up.
No, he's a good guy. He's okay. I like to watch him lift. Wish he'd fix that back foot in the truck.
Yeah.
Just
killing the snatch.
Just killing me.
Now, Ian snatched 168. He went 160, 168. Those look pretty good. And then he tried 73 for an all-time American record in the 105 class, which is currently held by Pete Kelly, like one of the best snatchers we've ever had in the U.S. And it really wasn't far off. I mean, did you guys see that lift?
I did not see it.
It was very close.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's what a couple of people have said.
It was the first time that I've watched Ian snatch where it looked heavy. You know, usually his transition usually doesn't slow down that much.
Yeah.
And then I could see he was really struggling with that weight. But even then, it was, I mean, there's a photo, Ian. If you look it up yourself, Ian has it, like, in the slot, basically.
Yeah.
Just a little out in
very,
front.
very close. I mean, a couple more competitions, this dude's going to have the snatch record, most likely.
He's a tremendous flexibility for a big man.
Yeah.
And just really hits a great position at the bottom.
Now, how's his body weight right now?
99.
It's 99?
He's still light in the class. And that's the other thing,
99.
too. He's still light in the class.
So he definitely has room to gain muscle mass.
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
A few kilos of muscle mass. So it's not like he's maxed out, he's weighing 108 and he's cutting down. Maybe at some point in his career that'll happen, but, you know, 4 or 5 years from now. But right now he's growing in the class, so he has room for improvement. And, yeah, I definitely expect 173 to fall. And then he went on to the clean and jerk, had a tough day, missed 195 3 times. Yeah, I mean, that just sucks. You know, they said he was getting lightheaded. You know, one of those things. Now, there is one side of that where it does kind of suck because, you know, he probably could have opened at 180 and still won the meet. And then my understanding is that we lost to Mexico on team points. We got second. So, you know, given that situation, do you open to win? Do you open him high to get him ready for Junior Worlds? I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think that that's you know, obviously hindsight is 20/20, but I think that if I was in that situation, I would have definitely opened. Obviously, you can say lighter than he opened because he bombed, but, you know, that's a perfect situation where I feel like you should open around, you know, 85 or something like that to get a lift in and then go to 95 to make the big one. I mean,
yeah, it's real hard to say, you know, because we weren't there. You don't know exactly when Ian started to get lightheaded, whether that was persistent through his warm-ups or it was the last lift or two of the warm-ups. if he had a big lead and needed to get a nominal number in, my decision if I have time is win the meet you're at, especially if it's an international meet. But again, I don't know exactly what the situation was and when that lightheadedness really started to hit him. Whether it hit him in his warm-ups or whether it hit him when he was out there on the platform for the first time. Yeah. By then, it's too late.
Yeah, I mean, by the time you take your first attempt, it's too late. And it's definitely easy to be a backseat coach, So it's just something to think about. But now he came out the 195, cleaned it very easy, missed the jerk. Just a tough day. And at the qualifier meet, maybe like 4 weeks ago, he made 205, that was junior nationals.
Yeah.
Made 205 and racked 210, so you're definitely not expecting 195 to be tough.
No, it's not a max lift or anything for him.
I think he had done like 200 in training like the week before.
I mean, it happens too. It happened to me a couple of weeks ago with Mike Zella in his snatches out at Hasselfree. I mean, he warmed up, and I don't think I've seen Mike have any crisper a warm-up than he had, and we went up to 118. We were going to open with 122 or 3, and then he just went out there and missed 3.
Yeah.
But I hadn't missed a warm-up lift, hadn't even looked shaky in a warm-up lift.
Yeah. Same thing happened to me at Worlds. At my warm-ups were going pretty good up to 170 in the back. 170 in the back, I got lightheaded, actually missed the jerk in the back. But at that point, the competition's already, the bar's already at what it's at.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't expect that situation to happen. I go out there and miss 2 lifts, and I am freaking out. Obviously, never been in that situation. So shit happens. I feel bad for him, but you know what? Like, at the end of the day, when you see his progress, it's been insane. It's kind of like the NCAA coaches when they're going into the to the bracket, the March Madness.
Yeah.
They say it's really hard to take an undefeated team and take them to the championship game, right? So that loss or that little wake-up call, if you will, like oftentimes takes the great ones and puts that fire under them. So going into Junior Worlds, I don't think it's all a bad thing to have something like this happen, because you're going to awaken that sleeping giant within him, and just he's got a chance to win Junior Worlds.
Yeah, I mean, Ian has always been a really good competitor, and you're right. Maybe this is just going to piss him off.
I'm sure it did. I mean, I've already seen a couple Facebook posts. So
he's not happy
about Junior Worlds.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I can't. Definitely not happy.
I wouldn't think.
He's a great competitor. So
I just love. I got to say this because I always say this when I'm talking about Ian. I just hope that someday he fills out and goes up to the supers. Where I think eventually, he'll have his he'll have his best in. What do you mean?
He should stay down there.
Wait, no. Sean says no. Ian should stay as a 105.
I just don't think
forever.
It would work out.
It wouldn't work out. You don't have any interest in this by no bias or anything.
No, I mean, if he does, I might, get on a diet and
hit those 105s.
Well, I mean, I'm a huge believer of naturally letting your body weight kind of float up, because as you get older, you're naturally going to get heavier, and optimizing your potential within a weight class, which I think he's done a great job of. He stayed in the 94s until he basically optimized his potential there. Now he's slowly started to move up. I think he's doing it good, but at the same time, going into Junior Worlds, an extra 3 or 4 kilos of body weight would probably be an advantage. So, when you're talking about that ultimate meet, last junior meet ever, chance at that Junior World Championship, an extra 3 kilos might help, which
hit the Golden Corral a few times. Maybe something
get those
better.
Extra clean jerks.
Yeah.
But that's
ball up a loaf.
Everyone's
of bread.
different. I've seen a ton of tall people who have a hard time putting on weight, and I don't think that's a big deal. Strength is not an issue for him.
No, very
He stands
strong.
up with those cleans. If leg strength is a huge issue for someone who's very tall, then it's kind of like, well, maybe you should move up. But yeah, maybe one day.
Well, Ian's always been a strong guy,
Yeah.
Ever since I've watched him lift anyway, he's never seemed to have trouble with moving the bar.
No, he
never.
stands up from those cleans very fast, especially for a tall guy. So we got through Complex Cruelty Month. How do you think it went, Don?
I think it went very well. I think for the time of year,
Glad you think that.
Of course, I wasn't doing any lifting. the time of year, I think we got a lot accomplished. We had a lot of people set PRs for doubles and triples within the complexes, which was odd. And even a couple of guys come back and do some singles later, just for the heck of it, and have PR singles. So
Caleb's 205.
Caleb's 205.
Yeah, I mean, Caleb's 205 was definitely the highlight. And almost every single person in the gym hit a PR triple. This was about a week after complex cruelty was over. So I think just everyone's work capacity is through the roof right now, which, I mean, going into heavier phases of lifting, I think that's only going to help recovery.
Right. And that's what, that's what I was trying to do. Mm-hmm. I felt we needed to get there. And I know Sean egged me on to get more higher reps. That's what he wanted, higher reps.
Well, I'm
sorry. No, he didn't.
Previously,
no, he did not.
When we've done complexes, we have historically had a lot of PRs when we were doing complexes. Mm-hmm. I remember Tom's first 200 clean and jerk was at the, after about 9 tries on a complex. I mean, we've had a lot of really good lifts when we were doing complexes.
I think there's a lot to be said for complexes is what comes out of this discussion.
Yeah, no, I think I cleaned 155 for a triple during the complex.
During complex,
which was like a 15 kilo PR.
The thing about complexes, it's even though, obviously, just like you just said, Travis, work capacity and all that stuff is very important. But I think mentally, they're extremely important. They stop people from concentrating on the number on the bar, and what you've got in your head is the number of things you have to do and the number of reps in each one of those things you have to do. And you start to forget the number on the bar and you just lift.
And two, like I was talking about, in order to do a complex with a heavy weight that has a lot of reps in it, you have to be as relaxed as possible lifting the weight. Yeah. So you learn how to clean. For instance, if I'm doing a very long complex, my first rep with 160 in the clean is going to be a very relaxed 160. Now, when I'm maxing out every day or something like that, in those very heavy periods of training, 160 is a weight where I start to really tense up and really start to go for it. And I don't have to. I'm wasting energy. So I think the biggest thing it does for me is teaches me to relax and pull how much I need to with certain weights.
Yeah, I think that's a valuable thing, one of the valuable things you get out of complexes.
Mm-hmm. So being relaxed, getting that work done, learning how to lift, those 80% weights. You don't have to go all out on them. And you want them to be crisp, though. You don't want to lift them slow, but you don't have to waste all your energy to do it. Now, what's next in training? What's our next phase of training? People kind of want to know that.
Sure they do. Mm-hmm. Well, we're going to cut down a little bit in the reps. We're not going to be doing big complexes. We'll still see some what I call simple complexes, like 1 or 2 pulls and a lift. Mm-hmm. Again, it's for the same reasons. We're still, most of us, except the guys going to the Pan Ams, are far away from a big meet. And I still think there's work to be done in making people just get on the bar and lift it, not think of the weight. And that's what those simpler complexes do. But we're going to start to see more singles at higher percentages more often. Mm-hmm. We're going to start to see it. And the lifts are going to get more and more similar to the classic lifts as we go on. That's just generally what we do. The only things that are not quite following that rule are the in this particular several month period are the deadlifts and the squats, which I'm trying to build in a kind of a wavy fashion up towards a maximum in June before the nationals. Mm-hmm. Just trying to increase squatting strength and also clean deadlifting strength, which is kind of tricky because you got to watch how much you do with that. Mm-hmm. But that's the only thing that are kind of always going to be going, kind of upwards in the intensity and not really falling off in the volume that much.
So basically, keeping those strength reps and percentages up, and then cutting the volume and the lifts down a hair. Yeah. But the percentage is up.
Yep.
So overall volume the same. Well, good stuff. I guess we got to go train here in a few minutes.
What?
You guys
We're training today?
Well, speaking of training, I guess, Don, you did 90 for a set of 5 on a back squat the other day.
Set of 10.
Set of 10?
Set of
Jeez.
10. Please.
Man.
Let's not.
Well, I can't count to 10 anymore.
I can't
You
now.
should be able to count to 10. You've done enough 10s.
Well, I made 8 a lot of times.
I gotta admit that when I did the set of 10 with 90, I had Becca count for me because I figured I'd lose count somewhere in there.
Glenn's going to do 100 a day.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yes, I am. I am planning.
For a set of 10.
I'm planning
For
on
5.
doing 5. I'm planning on doing 100 kilos for 5. So, no, I'm planning on doing 90 for 5.
You told me 100 a second ago.
Well,
he did 80 last week.
I was confused. I did 85 last week.
85 last week.
That's a
Don
minor
did 90 for 10?
minor point of
90 for
confusion.
10.
You got to do 91
Yeah.
for 5 then.
Okay, well, you got a deal there. I'll do
200
91 for
pounds.
5.
This is the only real competition that's of any importance here at all between Glenn and I to see which can be the most pathetic squatter in the room.
Well, I
think I can.
I will give myself some props here.
Well, yeah. Well, you had the stroke.
Yeah, I did have a stroke, and I've been coming back.
But on the other hand, you were always a better weightlifter than me by far.
No argument there.
With a what?
No argument there. But
I don't know. I think it's even Steven here.
Well, I will just say that give me another couple of months. I think that I will be far ahead.
Ooh. Ouch.
But
I'm going to go.
That might hurt. But
He's coming for.
I'm putting my knee wraps on.
Are we gonna Sinclair this for age?
Shit, then I win.
It's over.
What's that? Malone formula or something like that.
Yeah, something.
It's over then.
Metzger Malone or whatever.
My Sinclair is multiplied by infinity, if that's the case.
Yeah.
It's really tough for you to win that one.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a spring chicken anymore, but
what the hell are you talking about?
Well,
you're comparing to me.
Yeah, you're right.
You're right.
When you get triple digits,
But I should be on Medicaid for crying out loud.
Medicaid. Obamacare.
Oh, yeah.
Sign up.
No.
I think that the 90 or 91, whatever I decide to do for 5, this workout will not be super hard. But I was telling Caleb last workout, I did 85 for 5 last Friday. And, I can feel, the odd thing is these squats have not really gotten any harder ever since I did 40. I mean, my first workout back squatting after the stroke was 40 kilos for 5. And I don't really think the squats have gotten all that much harder. Now, some workouts have been a little harder than other workouts, but in general, the trend has not been a huge amount harder. They've all been pretty much the same. Mm-hmm. But I can feel that, and I was guesstimating somewhere within the next 10, 20 kilos, they're going to get hard.
Well,
which is always going to happen.
As your coach and spotter.
He's the coach and spotter.
As my coach and spotter.
As your coach and spotter.
Yeah.
I think you'll be fine for at least 15 kilos or so.
Wow.
To go.
Wow.
Thank you for the vote of confidence.
How's the balance coming?
It's much better, much improved.
The balance, I think, is better. Definitely better. I was, around 40 or 50 kilos when I was doing that, a couple of weeks ago. I felt like every rep, I felt like I was going to fall down. Mm-hmm. And, I think that, I definitely looked like I was going to fall down also. But now, the last couple of workouts, I've felt like I was balancing pretty good.
Yeah, that he was.
So we will hopefully get some more videos. There is a video on Muscle Driver of Glenn doing this 85 for 5. So hopefully we'll get some videos of Don doing these squats so you guys can see the competition.
Oh, and thank you to everybody that clicked on that video, because I checked that video, and after 2 days we already had like 7,000 views of a simple video of me squatting 85 kilos.
I'm getting no respect here at all. I'm doing
if
tons
we're going to have
here.
a contest here, the contest should be between you and me who gets the most views.
Oh shit!
I'll tell you. I think with the 91 for 5, I think I'll beat you on the view count.
Jesus, I'm going to have to call my family.
Yeah.
Well, Trav, before we go, I got 2 questions here. Can we get them answered?
Yeah, sure. We got a few minutes.
Yeah. Okay. So the first question I got was, what is your favorite way to correct the problem of having a crash in the clean? the bar crashing down. And I have my own thoughts on that, but let's hear it from you guys.
Meet the bar.
Yeah. Any sort of corrective exercise.
Work from blocks.
Work from blocks.
Usually,
one of my favorites.
Depending on what the person's techniques looks like, it could be them pulling with the arms too long and not getting the elbows around fast enough. Mm-hmm. That's the most typical problem that I see when the bar's crashing.
Right.
Yeah. I'd say some blocks, some power. Try and really work on not pulling with those arms too much. And meeting the bar, powers usually help you meet that bar pretty well.
Yeah, I mean,
but it depends on how they're going about it for sure.
That's the one thing when you're doing powers, try not to pull forever. You know, just give a tug with the traps and meet the bar. You know, hips and under. That's a good way to state it. Hips and under. And if you do that, you should not have a crash.
All right, and the second one is, I think they're asking, what is the difference between the bearing bar, and it says HF bar. I don't know what an HF bar is.
I think they meant HD, yeah.
HD bar. And that's, I mean, let's let the man himself answer that.
Well, the bearing bar is a bar that you should get, and everybody should get.
They asked if it's important, like one for competition or training, which no, everyone should just have the needle bearing bar. Because
everyone should buy the needle bearing bar. It's the main bar that we sell. And it's a very good bar for Olympic weightlifting. And I don't know why you'd buy anything different. It's lifetime guaranteed. It's going to last, practically, or for all practical purposes, it should last forever. And it's a very nice bar. I mean, there's not any place you can go to buy a bar that is markedly superior to that bar.
No, it's a very, very good bar, very competitively priced compared to some of the like elite, I guess you would call them, needle bearing bars out there. That being said, there's nothing wrong with the bushing bar either. If you need to buy a lot of bars, maybe for non-weightlifting purposes like CrossFit, I think the bushing bar is a very good bar to purchase instead. But
yeah, I mean, I guess the main difference is the actual bearings that are in there. Mm-hmm. So obviously, if you're going to be hosting weightlifting competitions at your gym, you need a needle bearing bar.
Yeah.
But any other questions?
That's it.
All right, guys. Well, if you guys don't have anything else, we're going to see you guys hopefully later on in the week. Hopefully we'll have some time this week. And thanks for listening.